The Great Migration, a journey through America's historic communities. The Great Migration stands as one of the most transformative chapters in American history, a monumental story of resilience, courage, and hope. Between 1916 and 1970, over 6 million African Americans left the oppressive conditions of the rural South in pursuit of better opportunities in the urban landscapes of the North, Midwest, and West. Their movement not only reshaped the nation's cities, but also served as the bedrock for much of the cultural, economic, and social fabric of America today. In this video, we'll embark on a journey to explore the lasting legacies of the communities established during this historic migration. Discover the roots of the Harlem Renaissance, the soul of jazz in Chicago, the resilience of Detroit's music scene, and much more. Each step on this path reveals a new chapter in African American heritage, a story rich with innovation, creativity, and the pursuit of freedom. Let us uncover these monumental contributions and the neighborhoods that keep their spirit alive, inviting cultural enthusiasts to visit, learn, and connect with this vital piece of history. The story begins in the rural South, where life in the early 20th century was defined by segregation, systemic racism, economic disparity, and the threat of racial violence. Sharecropping trapped many African Americans in a cycle of poverty akin to slavery. Opportunities for personal growth and freedom were painfully scarce. Yet outside the South, the promise of the industrialized North beckoned. Cities like Chicago, New York, and Detroit offered more than just jobs in booming industries. They represented hope for a life unshackled by the harsh realities of the Jim Crow South. The first wave of migration, spanning 1916 to 1940, was fueled by World War I and the availability of factory work. The momentum only grew in the second wave, between 1941 and 1970, as World War II spurred even greater demand for labor and the lure of freedom drew more families northward. This was not just a physical journey, but an emotional and cultural leap. It was a migration of minds, talents, and dreams to places that would profoundly influence American identity. Arriving in industrial hubs like Chicago, Detroit, Harlem, and beyond, African Americans faced both hope and hardship. While jobs were more available, they often found themselves relegated to menial labor, restrictive housing policies, and systemic discrimination. Despite these challenges, these migrants showed incredible resilience, forming vibrant, self-sustaining communities where culture thrived and solidarity flourished. Churches became sanctuaries of hope, community centers, and the heart of activism. Organizations like the Urban League and NAACP played vital roles in helping families settle and fight for justice. Within these new neighborhoods, art, music, and literature flourished in ways that would reverberate across the globe. Let's visit these iconic communities and witness their extraordinary cultural contributions firsthand. As one of the primary destinations for migrants, Harlem became a beacon of African American creativity. The Harlem Renaissance, 1920s-1930s, elevated black voices onto the global stage. Harlem pulsated with cultural energy, giving rise to literary legends such as Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston. Jazz and blues clubs like the Cotton Club and the Savoy Ballroom became legendary, providing platforms for artists such as Duke Ellington and Bessie Smith. Writers, musicians, and intellectuals synergized to create an unprecedented explosion of black creativity and activism. Today, Harlem remains a cultural epicenter, drawing visitors to landmarks such as the Apollo Theater and the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. It is a place where history breathes life into modern culture, offering travelers a chance to walk in the footsteps of legends. In Chicago's South Side, the neighborhood of Bronzeville became a cultural oasis for African Americans during the Great Migration. Known as the Black Metropolis, it was home to a vibrant economy, community activism, and a flourishing art scene. At the heart of Bronzeville's culture was music. The city's proximity to New Orleans allowed jazz to flow along the migration routes, and Bronzeville became central to its evolution. Musicians like Louis Armstrong took the genre to new heights, and jazz and blues clubs became meeting grounds for creative expression and social change. Today, sites like the Bronzeville Walk of Fame commemorate those who shaped this rich cultural environment, making it a must-visit destination for anyone eager to explore the roots of jazz. Detroit stands not only as the Motor City but also as the birthplace of Motown, a musical movement that changed the world. African Americans who arrived in Detroit found work in the automobile industry, but their creativity gave rise to a cultural phenomenon. Motown Records, founded by Berry Gordy in 1959, became the sound of a generation, combining rhythm and blues with pop sensibilities. Artists like Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, and the Jackson 5 carried the stories of African American life to mainstream stages, breaking barriers and creating timeless hits. Today, visitors to Detroit can walk through the Motown Museum, located in the same Hitsville, USA, house where classic songs were recorded, making it an essential stop for cultural enthusiasts. Dubbed Black Broadway, Washington, D.C.'s U Street corridor was a thriving cultural hub during and after the Great Migration. It became a magnet for African American entertainers, entrepreneurs, and civil rights advocates. Musicians such as Duke Ellington and Cab Calloway electrified its clubs, while institutions like Howard University fostered intellectual growth. Today, U Street continues to honor its history through cultural festivals, mural tours, and restored landmarks like the Lincoln Theater. Visitors can immerse themselves in the rich history and vibrant nightlife that remains a hallmark of this neighborhood. On the West Coast, Los Angeles' Central Avenue rose as a destination for African Americans escaping the South. This corridor grew into the epicenter of the West Coast jazz scene in the 1930s and 1940s, with performances by legends like Charles Mingus and Nat King Cole. Beyond music, the Avenue played a key role in cultivating a thriving African American middle class, nurturing entrepreneurship, and providing opportunities in industries like entertainment. Central Avenue's legacy lives on in festivals, historic landmarks, and a growing interest in preserving its rich history. No story of the Great Migration is complete without hearing from individuals who made this life-altering journey. Personal accounts of grandparents, parents, activists, and artists reveal the courage these migrants showed, leaving everything they knew to chart a new path. Their lived experiences bring this history to life, from facing segregation in the South to forging homes in unfamiliar cities. Oral histories paint a vivid picture of the strength and perseverance that carried them through. While the Great Migration created transformative opportunities, migrants faced systemic racism even in their new cities. Policies like redlining confined African Americans to segregated neighborhoods, limiting their access to better housing and resources. Amid these struggles, migrants built thriving enclaves where they overcame barriers. Some of these communities, however, are now at risk due to urban renewal and gentrification. Efforts to preserve their cultural heritage remain vital today. The Great Migration laid the foundation for the civil rights movement. Newly formed communities became hotbeds of activism, giving rise to leaders such as Malcolm X, who grew up in Michigan, and Rosa Parks, who settled in Detroit after her activism in Montgomery. Their voices echoed the demands for equality born out of the Great Migration's transformative experience. The fight for civil rights intertwined with the cultural renaissance, as art, literature, and music became expressions of both struggle and triumph. Visitors to these neighborhoods often find that history is not frozen in time. It continues to inspire movements for equality today. The Great Migration story is not just one of struggle or triumph, it's a testament to the indelible mark left on America by those who sought a better life. For travelers today, visiting these historic neighborhoods means more than sightseeing. It is about connecting with the spirit of resilience and creativity that still lives within their streets. Take a stroll through Harlem to feel the echoes of the Renaissance, visit Detroit to touch the beating heart of Motown, and immerse yourself in the jazz rhythms that still linger in Chicago and Los Angeles. This journey is an invitation to explore not just a pivotal past but a vibrant present, where the legacy of the Great Migration continues to thrive. The Great Migration reshaped America, carving out spaces of strength and unity amid adversity. These historic neighborhoods remind us of the courage it took to leave the familiar for the unknown, forging vibrant cultural landscapes that continue to enrich the nation. By walking these streets, visiting their landmarks, and listening to their stories, we honor the determination and creativity of those who came before us. Their legacy lives on, not just in the halls of museums, the notes of jazz, or the flavors of soul food, but in the enduring spirit of a people who transformed struggle into greatness. Let their journey inspire yours.